Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Anthony Joshua, he is in a very precarious position. I myself think this is the worst position Anthony Joshua has been in a long time. You see Anthony Joshua coming out of the Olympics as a gold medalist, being a young guy, heavyweight, bubbling personality, extremely articulate. He was a promoter's dream, sponsor's dream, easy to market, fan-friendly, just everything you would want. He made everyone's job easy. He went on, did a great job early in his career, got to around 15, 16 fights, stepped up, defeated Klitschko, was undefeated. I mean, everyone was catering to him. Anywhere this man went in the world, you know, he just has a magnetic personality. He was a heavyweight champion, a unified champion, and he was just clipping guys left and right. But then he started having issues with trying to make fights, and it wasn't his fault. But it is something because he's a shrewd businessman, and he's all about money. Remember, one of AJ's goals was to become a billionaire through boxing. So with the right guy on his team, like Eddie Hearn, that was what they set out to do. And they ensured they got those belts by any means necessary. For example, when he fought Charles Martin, they paid Charles Martin like $8 to $10 million to fight, because they knew they wanted to make sure they were able to get the fight. Two, they knew it was an easy fight. Charles Martin won that fight by default. I mean, he won that belt by default when he fought somebody who wasn't able to continue after I think like 3 or 4 rounds. So Charles Martin, the stars lined up for him, and then they lined up for AJ. Clip Martin went on, Clip Parker, Clip Klitschko, Clip Parker, and just beating these guys and getting belts. Okay, so now you look at where AJ is. AJ was with Wilder. That was a fight to make. AJ, Hearn, they want to make these deals where they give you a flat rate. Wilder will give you $20 million and the rest is ours. Or we'll give you $40 million, the rest is ours. Wilder's like, why? If you're going to give me that much money, what's he making? They wouldn't tell him what he was making. The Zone, they get involved. They treated Wilder like he was just some dumb country bumpkin from Alabama who didn't have any sense, who would just jump at $20 or $40 million. That's not what happened. They tried to blame Wilder. Wilder said it wasn't me. Back and forth going on. The Zone eventually came out a while later and said they're the reasons why that fight didn't happen, because they didn't treat Wilder with the respect of a champion, and that it was their fault. They didn't handle that negotiation properly. And you know what? So that's a sign. That's a red flag. So you look at AJ now. He goes on to fight Andy Ruiz. Gerald Miller falls out. They're going to give Gerald Miller $5 million, a flat 5, which is what they like to do. And then he goes on, he would have made his $40, $50 million. So he fights Ruiz, he loses to Ruiz. Now this is when things started to hurt AJ, because people start seeing him, he's no longer immortal, he's human, he can lose. He lost to this fat guy who no one knew who he was, unless you were, really in tune to boxing. They didn't give him a chance. They just looked at him, thought he was aesthetically unpleasing. How could he lose? True boxing fans knew that Andy Ruiz was a problem for anybody, because Andy Ruiz was knocking people out left and right, and he had the hands, and he had the boxing IQ, and he had the heart. So when Joshua got in there trying to be cute, he lost. So that hurt Joshua, that hurt his marketability. But again, it's like, okay, that was a fluke. He didn't look right before he came in the ring. Something happened. He was sick. He went to the States. He got sidetracked. This is just a little bump in the road. Okay, get it. Fast forward to the rematch. Joshua comes out. He boxed him. He looks very, very good in the rematch. And he's back again in the driver's seat with all the belts. Eddie Hearn wipes the sweat from his brow, and they're back on. He makes like 50, 60 million in that fight. Now he goes out there and he's just kind of plodding along, looking for the next big fight. He ends up coming across this guy named Usyk. Still can't make the Wilder fight. Comes across this guy named Usyk. Wilder and Fury have their trilogy. No possibility of fighting for the WBC title, because there was all this crap going on between Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Saudi Arabia, the crap with AJ and Wilder fighting or not gonna fight. Anyway, I mean Fury and Wilder. So anyway, long story short, all that happens and you're left with Usyk and AJ. Now, when all this is going on, people are losing respect for AJ because they're feeling like he's not really fighting the fights they want. He couldn't make Wilder. Wilder and Fury made it happen like that. 3 fights. Couldn't make the Fury fight. They blame Fury. Fury blames them. Gets in there with Usyk and tries to fight, which was absolutely stupid. Tries to outbox the boxer, the cruiserweight. And he got his ears boxed off and got hurt. He got his ass whipped in that fight. He did have moments, but he's become gun shy. He's become afraid to let his hands go because we know he's chinny and he can get hurt. But it's the heavyweights. Everyone can get hurt. He just got to go out there and let his hands go, but he didn't. So now AJ's in a position where he found himself against Ruiz. He has to try now to come with Usyk, who is a more intelligent boxer than Ruiz, someone who has the legs, has the footwork, has the pedigree to box, get in and out, and to make Joshua look crazy and to cause him another loss. And Joshua has to find a way to come and win this fight. So now Joshua's thing is to come in and try to take the fight to Usyk and try to be as volatile as possible in his approach, but at the same time hoping that would garner him a victory. It sounds to me like he's lost. He's jumping around from trainer to trainer, trying to get as much help as possible, traveling to the U.S., looking for help, getting the sparring. He is lost, he's confused, he's desperate, and these are the things you want to see as an opponent because Usyk has a lot of stuff going on his side too. But when you think about what's happening here with AJ, he has a lot to worry about. So I think it's a kind of level playing field when it comes to AJ and Usyk as far as them having worries. Not the same worries, but they both have things kind of bogging them down mentally. So if AJ is to lose this fight with Usyk, AJ is going to be in a horrible position because him going to fight Fury, AJ no longer has any belts. See, those belts were the bargaining chips that Eddie Hearn used to negotiate these 80% in favor of Joshua, 20% in favor of the opponent fights, 70-30s, flat rate fees for opponents. He can't do that anymore. And the thing is, Fury's talking about retiring. So that's off the table. Wilder has no interest in fighting Joshua. That's off the table. For AJ, who's he going to fight as a heavyweight? He just becomes an opponent. He just becomes another fighter out there. Can he still fill stadiums in? Fill in stadiums? I believe so, but people are cruel. When you're no longer that cool guy, cool girl, that undefeated champion, that person that everybody sees as not human, as something that they would wish they could be. Once he loses all those accolades, once he can't regain those belts, all that's gone, and the sponsorship deals and everything else is out the window. You see, they're looking at the whole person concept. And AJ brings the personality, he brings the smile, he brings the ability to speak very well. But you know what really made him who he was were those damn belts. AJ has an uphill battle in front of him, and I just don't think he's going to be the same. He's in a sink or swim position, and he doesn't look like he knows how to swim that well. Because when things get deep in those fights, he looks lost, he looks confused, he looks for help, and then he looks for a way out. And we're going to see what he does this fight. He just doesn't seem the same. You just don't really know what all is going on with him. But when I just watch the little bit of clips I can find on him and see what he's doing, it looks to me like he's in panic mode. And he's in a fight or flight type situation. And it looks to me like he's doing a whole lot of flighting, because he's not sitting down training the way I think he should be and really trying to work on a master plan to defeat Usyk. Because we know Usyk, he can sit down and get to the job. He's not going to sit there and worry about much except making sure he's in the best of shape. He got to be healthy mentally. He has a lot going on. And just working on doing what he did, but just do it even better this time and not get caught up in Joshua's fight, which is to try to knock him out. So I definitely think the Lucas A deals and all the other sponsorships that he has going on with Under Armour and everything, I just think if he doesn't win this fight, he's going to lose that, and a lot of that stuff is going to go go to Usyk now. Because see, when it comes to business, nobody cares. They're all about making money. So they're not worried about severing ties with Joshua and hurting his feelings. They're going to do what's best for the company. Just like AJ should do the same thing, what's best for him. If Under Armour wants to pay him $20 million a year and Nike wants to pay him $100 million a year, nothing personal with Under Armour. I'll drop you and go with Nike, or I can maintain both of you. But that's just how it goes in business. Same way an athlete can drop the sponsor can drop the athlete. And I think that's what's going to happen to AJ. And I think he has a good support system around him. But I think after this, it's just everyone knows he's chinny, and when they come at him, they're going to go at him and try to get him out of there. I just think the run for AJ is over if he can't beat Usyk. I think a lot of those big fights we wanted to see, I just don't think it's going to happen, because Hearn's still going to try to market him and try to make sure he's the A side, but he's not. He's no longer the A side if he can't beat Usyk. So we'll see how that plays out, man. I like Joshua. I think he's a great fighter. I just think he's in too deep with Usyk, and I think he's kind of caught up in his own hype a little bit. And Eddie Hearn's no help, because Eddie Hearn's putting all this unnecessary pressure on him. I don't know if you guys remember, you've seen the clips when Joshua lost to Ruiz. Eddie Hearn almost had a heart attack. He damn near had an aneurysm. And he was like so angry at Joshua for losing the fight. Very unprofessional, in my opinion, because Eddie Hearn just saw the money go out the window. Eddie Hearn wasn't thinking about anything else, about this man's health, about his well-being. He was thinking about the money. So if he loses this time, and I'm sure Eddie Hearn will talk about it in the interviews, I just think for AJ, he's going to have to really stop and think about what he's going to do going forward. He can still have a blossoming career, but I think he's kind of reached the apex, and he's going to be on the decline now, man, or on the downside, because what else is there for him? Wilder and Fury, the two big fights to really put him where he needed to be financially, get him close to that, $400 or $500 million mark, but to get to $1 billion, I just think it's going to be hard now unless he gets those belts back and they keep fighting in Saudi Arabia, which I just think he's not going to have that leverage if he doesn't win. So my prediction with Joshua and Usyk, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of who can impose their style, their strategy, and who finds a way to win. I gotta give AJ a little bit of the edge because there's some things he didn't do right in that first fight, and I think he'll make the change, make the adjustment, and do it right. Usyk did everything right in that first fight. Not sure if he can repeat that performance, but we will find out. But I think everyone wins when it comes to this fight. That being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. Thank you for the support. Please like and subscribe. More videos to come. And as always, I'm in the breeze.